Today we will be talking about the newest Souls-like video game on the market. Everybody's been talking about it for the past few weeks. It's a game coming out this fall in 2023, developed by NeoWiz Games and Round 8 Studio, and that is of course Lies of P. Probably the most Bloodborne-like game we've seen so far that's not actually made by From Software. Since the demo released a few weeks ago, there's been a ton of mixed reviews, both good and bad. And as somebody who's played the demo more than once, I can say without a doubt that Lies of P has a ton of similarities from Bloodborne, but at the same time there's a bunch of things that do stand out. Is this game gonna be worth picking up in autumn, or should you even pre-order it? That is exactly why I'm here today and why you clicked on this video, to answer this billion-dollar question. So with that being said, grab some snacks, lay back, and let's dive right in. So first things first, in Lies of P, you take control of humanoid Pinocchio, who, mind you, a lot of people compare with the famous actor Timothée Chalamet. Let me know if y'all see the resemblance there, but I definitely see it. And you have to travel on foot through the city of Krat, which is basically this dark, mysterious, rainy sort of city. That's the vibes it's given, and that's the main reason people compare Lies of P with Bloodborne, because both of these games have the dark, mysterious, abandoned city type vibes, if you know what I'm talking about. And Lies of P, just like Bloodborne, is super linear. There's a few side paths you can venture out to, but mostly you're gonna be going on one path, and just like Bloodborne, you can unlock shortcuts. There's a lot of reasons people compare Lies of P with Bloodborne, and the map, the environment is probably the biggest one. Now, before I even say anything else about Lies of P, I have to mention that even though I'm comparing it with Bloodborne, Lies of P doesn't get anywhere near close to what Bloodborne is. Yes, Lies of P incorporated a lot of things from Bloodborne beautifully. The game is well polished, it feels well made, at least that's what I got from the demo. But of course, you cannot beat From Software at what they're best at. A lot of things we see in Lies of P, including the leveling up system, some of the combat mechanics from Bloodborne, and a bunch of other stuff in general we've seen in previous Souls games, right? But I don't think Lies of P should be a no-go. I think it should be the contrary. It's this new, fresh, well-made Souls-like game that gives Souls fans something to look forward to. Yes, maybe it's not 100% original, but I don't see what's wrong with that. It has its unique little twists, starting with the game's story, right? Even the enemies are these little police robots, and the story itself, you're literally playing as Pinocchio. I feel like that's extremely cool, especially to the people who know the Pinocchio story. Now we have to talk about the combat in Lies of P, and this game relies a lot on perfect parrying. You can also dodge, but if you don't learn how to time those perfect parries, you are gonna have a hard time with enemies and bosses especially. When you first start off, at least that's how it was in the demo, you get to pick one out of 3 classes, but that's not really that important because later on in the game you can buy other weapons which are basically classified as different classes and venture out with different type of builds. There is also some really cool throwables you can buy from merchants as well, like there's those electrifying bombs, you can electrify your weapon and a bunch of other cool stuff. But where Lies of P really took inspiration from Bloodborne is when it comes to the health bar. In Bloodborne, whenever you get hit, you lose health, and in order to regain that health, you attack the enemy right after you get hit. And Lies of P has the exact same mechanic. Whenever you get hit in Lies of P, even while blocking, you will still lose some health. And in order to regain that health back, you have to attack right after you got hit. I'm gonna be honest, I really like this mechanic of Lies of P they implemented from Bloodborne, because in the demo you only had 3 healing things to actually regain health, and that was nowhere near enough for me. But the aspect of the combat in Lies of P that stood out the most for me was the fact that you need to repair your weapon. I was a bit surprised at first, and I'm not gonna lie, I didn't enjoy this feature at first, because you literally have to attack enemies and your weapon's durability goes lower, and you have this sort of device on you the whole time, and you have to hold the button and it repairs your weapon pretty fast, but it's still really tough to manage in fights, because if you don't repair your weapon before a boss fight, you're pretty much screwed. I'd say it takes about 10 seconds, maybe less, to actually fully repair your weapon. Speaking of boss fights, this is another aspect I love about Lies of P. They managed to make bosses really fun to play with and really fun to beat because they're actually challenging compared to normal enemies in the demo who are a piece of cake in every way, shape and form. Like, you couldn't even say it's a Souls-like game because the enemies that you see throughout Krat City are not a challenge at all. There's even animatronic dogs in Lies of P, just like in Bloodborne. And those who played Bloodborne and other Souls games know that in From Software's titles, dogs are always the biggest pain. But in Lies of P, on the contrast, dogs were so easy to deal with. Maybe it's just cause the demo was at literally the start of the game, or enemies are just that easy, but I do like to think that the demo was put in like the earliest stage of the game, right? I still have hopes that they will increase the difficulty of the normal enemies. But the bosses were a blast. Even the first boss, I died a few times. Like, I wouldn't say I beat it in my first 2 or 3 tries. The first boss was a bit of a challenge, but it was so much fun. Bosses are actually fairly intelligent, and they have like the first phase, the second phase, and throughout the full game when it comes out, I'm really looking forward to see what other bosses they got. So we talked about the game's pace, the combat mechanics, the environments, gameplay of Lies of P in general. Now I have to talk a little bit about the customization because Lies of P does have some of it. You can change your outfit. I can't show y'all on screen right now because I wasn't recording back then, but in my first playthrough I did get an outfit in the demo. It looked kind of cool. What you're seeing on the screen right now is my second playthrough of the demo. I really enjoyed it and I was like, let me do a second playthrough. But you can change your outfit. I'm sure that in the full game there will be a ton more customization options, and besides that you can have up to 2 weapons at once. Basically you can switch between 2 builds at once, which is really cool. I really like that because let's say you can go between a very light weapon and a heavy weapon. I feel like that's pretty neat. And besides customization, of course, visuals are amazing. We talked about this at the start of the video. The game has this dark, mysterious vibes. It looks way better than Bloodborne, of course, because it's a new game, right? And especially playing it on PS5, it's so crisp, it's so smooth. Overall, I am super pleased with the graphics. With that being said, we probably have reached the end of the video. I usually like to talk more about games, but we don't have a bunch of info, especially regarding story. I am not very well aware of this game's story yet. I only know the basics, that you're like a Pinocchio humanoid. Close to the end, you basically meet the person who made you. I'm not fully aware of what the story has to offer, so let me know in the comments down below if you know more about the game's lore. But if you did enjoy watching this video as much as I enjoyed making it, feel free to drop a like. If you want to see more Lies of P content on the channel, or maybe see more videos regarding the game when it's fully out, subscribe if you're new and want to keep in touch with the videos and the content. Have a good rest of the day, everybody. See you in the next one. Peace!